Phoenix Down Radio is on the air. With your hosts,
Klauss Nightbringer,
Seyrr Kimono,
Chille,
and Luna Vox.
Welcome everybody to Phoenix Down Radio episode number 66. What's going on, everybody?
Sleep?
I hope you're not sleeping. You're supposed to be doing a podcast.
I've done so many podcasts, I can just...
Sleep is for the weak, Chille. Also, Seyrr, you can unmute now. It's safe.
Maybe he has gone to poop out more knowledge.
That's possible. All right. Seyrr is here. Unfortunately, we are short one Luna. She is going to take a little bit of a break and take care of some of her things. So we wish you all the best, Luna. And you're always welcome to come back. We can't wait till you make your triumphant return.
I think the formal term is hiatus.
That'll
also
work. Hiatus.
Oh, who has two thumbs and is really good at writing library incident reports? This librarian.
Yay. Or not yay.
Well, I mean, it's good that someone could write them.
Yeah. Well, it's also, it's sad, though, that you had to actually write the incident report.
Yeah. Patron's gonna do what patrons do.
Patron's gonna patron?
Something like that.
All right. So, what have you guys been up to the last 2 weeks aside from writing incident reports?
So I got Samurai to 67 in the way I had really, really wanted to by doing the entire Ditaki Chronicles fate chain with a friend of mine.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's so cool. Like, for those of you who don't know about it, on the Azim Step, there's a chain of 13 fates. The entire thing takes about an hour and a half to complete. That has you traveling around with the nomadic Ditaki tribe.
Interesting.
Yep. There's some of them where, like, it pauses for a little while they make camp, milk the sheep, do other various things like that. And it's just like a really interesting one. Fills out a little bit of lore on some of the Azim Steppe Zayla tribes, and it's just kind of a fun, little interesting thing to do. Plus, you get a neat decoration for your house and an achievement at the end of it.
Ooh. So it is all about the glamour.
I mean, in my case, it was partly about the lore and partly about this would be a really thematically appropriate way to get to this point.
Glamour is the true end game.
I mean, it is.
Glamour is best.
Anyway.
Glamour is best in slot.
But that's cool. So now you only have 3 levels to get to 70.
Yep. Almost everything I have is level 67 at this point. I am mostly going on which thing lets me obsolete and turn in the most gear.
Well, you should also, I suppose, have you worked on the new beast tribes yet?
Not a lot.
That'll be a good way to kill 2 birds with 1 stone as well.
Well, yeah, but I need to do the old beast tribes so I can get 32 more unidentifiable items, and then I will be completed with that for all of my animal weapons.
Oh, so you're using all of your beast tribe allowances for that.
Yep. I am down to about 27,000 poetics in total needed.
Holy shit, man.
Yeah, I know. Still so many.
Insanity.
Hi.
Oh, yes.
Speaking of insanity, Chille, how's Eureka?
Oh, yeah. I'm working on my 6th relic weapon. So I'm actually having to level up a job so I can get the next relic weapon because I don't have enough jobs at 70.
I'm in the same boat, actually.
You can at least, pre-stock the materials you're going to need, right?
That is true.
Yeah, I've got all the materials already. Except for the Pazuzu feathers, but I can get those.
Pazuzu.
The feathers are hard to get.
Unless you're level 20.
The feather's hard to get. You still need to keep the meter, correct?
Yeah.
This is important.
Leave it to Seyrr to ruin all our fun.
But anyway, I've been working on Eureka. I've progressed in Savage. We got it down to 3% this week.
And then something tragic happened.
Yeah, something bad happened and we lost. So,
something tank didn't silence, something Ultros touched everybody in naughty places, something everyone died.
All in the butt.
Ooh, not there.
But yeah, the fact that we got to 3% and didn't enrage was a lot of progress because we've got to enrage and we were normally at like 10%. So the fact that we actually got to it and further than before and not enraged showed that we did a lot better this time. So hopefully we can clear it next week because we're taking a break. We raided for 4 days in a row. So,
but seriously, congrats on that. That's awesome.
Thank you.
I hope you guys are able to get your clear on your next tries.
I hope so too, because I want to try Godka.
God Kefka? Kefka?
Kefkangel?
Something like that.
It's like an archangel, but Kef.
But he is no angel. He's just...
He's a devil in disguise.
He's more than meets the eyes.
He's
a transformer.
A different song that is stuck in my head now. I hate you.
Oh, I know, but... Anyway. As for me, as you can see, I was also in Eureka. I was able to get all of my glamour pieces finally. Even the Strider boots. That one.
Yeah, those took me forever.
I know. Frickin' fighting against Seyrr Strider, that was just... Ugh.
Oh god, I refuse to sit next to you. I'm sitting next to Chille.
Wait, why?
He's jealous.
No.
He's totally jealous of my awesome, beautiful glamour.
I am, like, even the freaking wind-up Mithra is giving me flashbacks.
You're telling me you want me to switch my minion? Just kidding.
No. Oh god, it's gonna spike flail everyone.
Yeah,
it does that. It's fun.
It is. It's hilarious, actually.
So I heard.
Well, I'm a cowboy, so
an Animus cowboy.
Yeah.
Not a space
will you
cowboy.
be reverse cowboy?
Oh my.
Good night,
we'll
folks.
Have to find out after the show.
Oy vey. All right. Anyway, I just wanted to pass along that I will actually be at Anime Detour this coming weekend, April 6th through the 8th. So if you guys are in Minneapolis and you planned on attending, make sure to look for me. I'm actually going to have some brand new Phoenix on Radio buttons and some cards to give away. So let me know if you're going to be there. I'd be more than happy to share those with you.
Oh, shucks. I'm going to be out of town that weekend.
Darn it, Chille. You're supposed to have been there.
Cancel anime. Not like the convention, just anime in general.
No!
Well, Dragon Ball's cancelled for now, so I don't mind.
No, that means it's not cancelled. It's just waiting till the next season.
It's on hiatus till like next year, end of next year.
Really? They're putting it off that long?
Yeah.
Usually they jump right into the next season.
They need that long to charge up the power level.
It's not over 9,000?
Well, no, it's just because a long-running show that used to air before Super is now airing at the same time again, so they have to wait until that finishes before they can...
Damn them. How dare they? Don't they know they got people who need to watch their power levels spike over 9,000?
Come on, you have to have another joke.
I have over 9,000 of them.
I'm going to find you and I'm going to hurt you.
In over 9,000 ways?
I think
anyone who attends Anime Detour, you know what you need to do to him.
Yep.
I think my soul is
High
dying
five.
with every sentence.
High fives are accepted. Another bit of show news. Due to a work conflict, episode 67 will actually be on Friday the 13th of April. So mark your calendars for that so you don't miss out. It won't be on the normal Saturday. We will be having to move it a day ahead. Normal time, though, 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific. All right. So some gaming community news. The finals of the Manfina's Madness Blitzball tournament, I believe they may have just actually ended. Unfortunately, Seyrr's team, the Koban Crushers, were crushed in the semifinals.
RIP! I demand a recount. Is that how Blitzball works?
I don't think so.
It does now.
You have to call a 900 number and pay $2.95 a minute to express your rage.
Oh, that's fair. Klauss, can I borrow your credit card for reasons?
Yeah, let me get it from Chille.
Awesome.
Okay. I've got it on me right now.
The number is 1, 2. No. Anyway, the Alamigo Salt Barons faced off against the Gridania Sea Chocobos for the title. If you want to check out the video on demand replay, you can go out to twitch.tv/Caden_the_stoic. I will be linking that here in the Twitch chat and in the show notes as well. They actually had it. They had an announcer for this particular final, so go check that out if you're interested. As of the time of the writing of this particular blog post where this information came from, they had raised $210 of their $500 goal. But hopefully with tonight's game, they were able to push way over that and meet the goal. They're trying to raise that money to donate to the Final Fantasy XIV Content Creators Group for Extra Life. And if you want...
Don't tell me that they had Titus guest star as the voiceover, and anytime someone scored a goal, he just went, ah, 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 ah.
There actually was one of the Blitzball players was a fairly transparent XP of Titus, so...
Yeah, but I also...
don't know if I'm happy that I was right or... sad.
His special ability was a very distracting laugh.
Okay, now I'm happy.
I put a link to the Tumblr blog post as well if you want full information. Something else I have to link as well. Seyrr, did you see this?
Which one do we have here?
The Final Fantasy XIV
that
Instagram
calendar.
Yes. One more thing linked in there. This is a new crane catcher game prize in Japan. It is an infinite carbuncle calendar, and I have to have it.
Yeah, very adorably done. It has several carbuncle frolicking, and then the days of the week and date are made by rotating various dice.
Yes,
I want it so badly.
If anybody who's listening is going to Japan soon, please let me know. I will pay you to win one for me.
Within reason, I think.
Yeah. I mean, because I did do some looking, and right now on eBay, they're $70.
Yeah. No, a friend of mine showed me his cold cast figurine of Final Fantasy VI's opera scene, I think it was, and those ones go for like $700 plus these days.
I suppose it's no longer in print.
They only made 3,000 of each one.
Ooh,
so,
yeah.
Like an actual collector's item.
This will probably go down in price in a bit because it's just once people start, you win it.
It just came out, so once people have it, it'll go down in price, and you'll probably be able to see it and get it for about $30 or so, which is what I'm hoping for soon. All right, a new Dissidia Final Fantasy NT patch adds the a new tactics stage, as well as they added a move list that you can actually use to go through and view everybody's move sets. That's kind of a neat idea. But then the new tactics stage is kind of nice looking as well. It's the brain is failing me now, Seyrr.
I haven't seen it, but describe it.
It's the name is escaping me is the problem. I'm having one of those days. It's the monastery. That's what it is.
Orbon.
Thank you. I was gonna say Arbon, and that didn't seem right either. That's like something else.
Orbon Monastery.
Correct.
Which I am pretty damn sure we are going to go to at some point in the Return to Italy stuff.
Oh yeah, that's something that we're going to be talking about here too. I was going to actually mention this on the top of the show, but our discussion topic tonight is going to be something that we want to get your guys' opinion on. Think on this for a little bit, guys. Does Final Fantasy XIV recycle too much content? If we want to hear your guys' opinions, so if you want to join us in Discord, let us know. You can jump in there and we'll bring you into the show and you can voice your opinions with us. So if you need to, the
give
link...
you a little extra time to actually think about it.
Exactly. So I apologize for not mentioning it at the top of the show, but at least I got it out before we got into it. All right. Final Fantasy announced their lineup for PAX East, which is also next weekend. They're going to have a Final Fantasy XIV Byakko Battle Challenge with the I Beat Byakko shirt. Grumble, grumble. There's going to be a Final Fantasy trading card game tournament. They actually are coming out with some new booster packs and starters that feature Final Fantasies 13, 14, and 15, I believe it is. And they recently gave away some of those on an earlier Duty Commenced episode hosted by Aya and Shannon from the community team. They look pretty cool, actually. Are you much into trading card games, guys?
Not a whole lot. I did end up with a whole bunch of packs from someone or another, which I'm going to open at some point. I just haven't gotten around to it.
Oh, the Final Fantasy one or a different game?
The Final Fantasy one.
Which set was it from? An earlier one?
Earlier one, yeah.
Okay. How about you, Chille?
I enjoy them, but I felt, at least in Europe, that they were coming out way too fast.
For a while, there were a lot of trading card games for almost every IP out there. And
No, I meant for the because we got it later than America. We got like set 1, 2, and 3 in about a month month time each.
Oh, I see. So it was like you didn't have a chance to get used to one set when the next one come out and then the next one come out. So there was no chance to build up a meta, huh?
Yeah, it was like August, then like September, then November.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay.
I mean, don't sets usually come out every like 3 months?
Yeah, they normally come out every 3 months,
like
but
quarterly.
because we were about 4 sets behind America, they decided to rush them all out.
Well, to be
catch
fair, America was behind a bunch of sets from Japan.
Yeah.
So, but no, I mean, getting back to my point on that, I mean, for a while there, almost every single IP had a trading card game going for it. It was impossible to get into many of them. I mean, they were trying to, jump off of Magic's success. And
Hell, the Dragon Ball card game right now is horrendous. You can't stock it at all.
meaning it's selling well.
Yeah, it's selling well, but the company's also not stocking them.
Okay.
I think they had the because I've got a little card shop that I go to. He said he had the issue with Final Fantasy as well when that first came out, where he ordered 5 boxes, booster boxes, but the company only sent 1 because that's how many they had in.
They just couldn't get enough, huh?
Yeah.
But then, I suppose they also want to maintain a little bit of scarcity to increase the trading card prices.
But why would they? Like, they don't get any of that revenue.
The problem with that, though, is that it's artificial increasing because you might need 3 or I don't know how the Final Fantasy game works, but sometimes you need like duplicates of the same card. So by having even the commonest being artificially, held back, it means the prices of everything, less people play it.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't afford to make a deck.
But then I suppose on a converse, if you make too many and it doesn't take off, then you're stuck with a whole bunch of stock. And like I said, it all depends. So I mean, maybe they might be just playing it a little safe to see if it's going to take off in that area, and then they will increase the amount of supply there. Anyway, moving on. There's going to be a Final Fantasy XV Windows Edition story panel and a Final Fantasy XIV story panel where they're going to have some special guests there. And there's also going to be some really cool giveaway stuff, like there's going to be Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia buttons that you can get. Final Fantasy XIV foam samurai swords. God, that would be kind of cool to smack people around the head with those.
Oh, FanFest, please.
I know. Get them to FanFest.
Well, I guess that we should, because didn't we get no, not this FanFest, because I remember we did get the pointy fingers during the first FanFest. Yeah, the wind up.
Oh, yeah, the inflatable ones.
Yeah.
And then there's also a Final Fantasy XV Pocket Edition T-shirt giveaways. So,
I tried that. It wasn't there.
Pocket Edition? You tried episode 1?
Yeah, I tried episode 1. I just didn't like it too much.
I'm not a fan of the art style.
I tried it. My phone didn't officially support it, but, Android.
I'm not sure how well that. It's going to take a lot of memory to load those games. That's the one thing that I am not a fan of with Square Enix's mobile games. They are too fucking huge. I mean, we're talking, 2 or 3 gigabytes each.
A lot of mobile games are huge now, but Square Enix ones are just insane.
And they get bigger and bigger every time there's more data. They don't, get rid of anything. They just, it's... The 4 Final Fantasy games I have on my phone take up like the most room of any of my apps.
So I mean that's a thing for a lot of mobile games. You can always clear the cache.
Yeah, but then you're spent a whole bunch of time re-downloading it when you have to access that area again, and you're back to square one.
I mean, it matters a bit more if it's up for this like regular events where it's like, hey, they're not going to bring that event back anytime soon.
But then they end up bringing it back, and then you re-download it again. It's like, God damn it.
But again, how often? Like, it's a trade-off thing. If you have to re-download it once every 6 months, and in the interim you get to save that space, probably worth it.
Yeah. I just wish that more mobile developers would utilize off-phone storage.
Yeah, SD card.
Exactly. I mean, you can move the app to your SD cards, but a lot of times the cache actually doesn't support that. It has to be on the phone memory. I know it's faster, but still, it's like, I've got a 200 gig card in there, but only 32 gigs of on phone memory. It's like, come on, it's taking up just way too much. Maybe I need to play less games. Who am I kidding? I'm not playing less games. All right. We also got news that Letter from the Producer Live, episode 43, I believe it is scheduled for April 14th at 2:30 a.m. Pacific time. So we won't be talking about it on the next episode. We probably won't be talking about it on the episode after that either, because it's probably not going to be a lot to talk about. It's going to be a part 1 of the patch 4.3 preview. The part that I might be most interested in is going to actually be the part where FoxClown's going to talk about the community team. A little bit of behind the scenes on how the community team from Japan, NA, and EU all interact together. At least that's what I'm hoping we get.
It'd be cool if they bring in Aya and Shannon. That'd be nice.
I don't think they're going to, though. This is going to be in Japan.
Yeah, boo.
But there will be a Q&A with FoxClown, so if you want to submit a question, you can go to the official forums, and there's a thread dedicated just to that, so you can submit your questions there. One thing they also noted is there will no longer be a forums thread with live updates. Key points will instead be posted on the Final Fantasy XIV EN Twitter account. So make sure.
I wonder if that was just easier for them.
I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. I like having everything in one thread. It was easy to get to. It's basically going back to kind of the way it was before they even did any of this. And then we ended up relying on community people to do all the unofficial translation. I don't know. Would it be that difficult to even have all this stuff available ahead of time so they can just, copy and paste it as they're going through? I don't know. Twitter just doesn't seem like the proper channel for that.
I mean, if they want to do like, hey, here's a short take on it, I guess.
But, a lot of people want more than just a short take on it. We'd like to get, a similar amount of information that the Japanese are able to get.
Yeah.
Just my thoughts. Like I said, I'm not a fan of it. I know there are other people in the community that aren't, major fans of it either. But like I said, it's just our opinion. What about you, Chille?
I agree. To be fair, they should just put it on both. I know that's more hassle, but some people check Twitter, some people check the forums.
Yeah, maybe they're thinking that they'll get more people by putting it on Twitter, but Twitter it can be a shit show when you're trying to get organized information.
Oh yeah, because especially if you got a lot of followers or follow a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Those Twitter threads can just get to be so convoluted. Whereas, on your site's official forums, you can actually control, make sure that only certain people can post to that area, but anybody can read it. I don't know. Just like I said, my thought. All right. So we have another free login campaign now that we've got Eureka. From now until May 6th, if you had a active sub and it has lapsed for at least 30 days, you can log in to Final Fantasy XIV for up to 96 hours for free. So you can check out content like Eureka, catch up on any content you may have missed, and join your friends on new adventures. But do note that as soon as you sign in, your 96 hours starts right then.
And that includes if you need to run updates.
Correct.
It's like when you enter your password, not when you get into the actual application.
Yeah, so don't, think that you're going to pre-download everything and then play on the weekend. No, you want to make sure that you plan your time to download it and then be able to play right afterwards, because otherwise your time is going to be gone. Kind of sad, but it is what it is. That's kind of how all of their campaigns have been like that. All right, Seyrr, did you get a chance to check out the April Fool's joke for this year?
I did. I was rather impressed. So they did it was Magni Fantasy, which is a kind of following the adventures of our favorite Aura, really lonely guy, with as just going through a variety of game styles. They had references to the original Final Fantasy, Secret of Mana, Pokemon, ActRaiser, World Runner, Last Remnant, Ogre Battle, Tactics Advance, Einhander, and there are a couple more that I couldn't quite tell which one it was.
Yeah, Chille, you found a comprehensive list out on Reddit, didn't you? Uh-oh. Did we lose the Chille again?
Hello?
There he is.
Yo.
No, you pretty much covered everything on Reddit, I think.
I feel like there was one I was missing.
When did you say Fantasy Tactics?
I saw Tactics Advance.
There was Fantasy 3, and then third. 3 was like the starting one. So.
They reference a lot of Square Enix games in that. So I put a link.
They're all Square-based games, pretty much.
Yeah, they are. They would have to be. But
either Square or Square.
Square Enix or Square Enix.
Yeah.
But I put a link to the YouTube video out in the chat. We'll also reference that in the show notes for those listening on the podcast. We're not going to play it here because the chiptune is very loud. Very interesting, but very loud. And it's about an 8-minute video? Kind of long.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got some new optional items available. And to go with that, I had announced last night on Twitter that, we had just surpassed 450 followers here on Twitter. So I figured, on Twitch. Too many things that are going through my head right now. So we reached the 450 followers here on Twitch. And I figured, you know what? Let's give away some of those new items. So we're going to do a giveaway here in a bit to anybody watching us live here at twitch.tv/PhoenixDownRadio. Like I said, because this is in reference to us hitting that milestone on Twitch, we want to give it away to those who made it happen. And
we're at 451 now.
Yes. Which is really awesome. So thank you guys. So we're going to give away 3 items tonight. We'll do it here in just a little bit. But we'll talk about some of the new items that are available. A lot of past Hatching Tides items are now available for purchase on the Cash Shop, as are a pair of carbuncle slippers, either in emerald or topaz. And they're dyeable.
I think they're dyeable.
Yes,
yeah.
They are dyeable. So you can actually make them black or white or any color you want.
Make them red.
Red. And a Mega Flare emote, which I'm not sure how I feel about.
Mega disappointment emote.
Not disappointed. It's mega expensive.
It's cheap considering the fact that the rest of them were $150 plus free statue.
Yeah.
You're not wrong, I guess. But normally,
Mary had like a fairly good comment on it that I should dig up.
yeah, well, if you can find that, because that emote is $12. Emotes like Power Up are only $7, and Pretty Please and things like that. The ones that were from past seasonal events are usually about $2. So we get a $12 emote that shows us getting blown up by a Mega Flare.
And I'm very disappointed because it says it does nothing. I want it to randomly do something.
You mean as far as actually like damage?
No, it just says when you use it, it says uses Mega Flare, it does nothing. They say something like it does 999 damage but doesn't actually do it or something. Yeah, just a laugh.
Oh. But then you were just imagining things.
You're shooting Mega Flares out your butt. You're imagining things as it is.
But more importantly, one of the bigger updates in there is there's now a shopping cart available.
1 second, Faraz. No, it doesn't scale with size. If you're a Lalafell, you'll jump up to the same height as everyone else. It's amazing.
Wow.
Here we are. I found the thing he said.
Okay.
Personally, I think the Mega Flare looks absolutely stunning for a spammable emote. Surely most people understand they can't just rip Bahamut's Mega Flare from T13 and give it to players. The chaos it had caused in cities as players spammed it would be overwhelming. Even just a single player would be a massive eyesore, and they can just turn off spell effects defense isn't really that solid in my own opinion. I think for what it is, it's a fantastic emote, and as has been mentioned, the previous battle emotes have been tied to $150 statues. You can argue the emote's value isn't $150 and you're paying for the statue, but the simple fact of the matter is you're only able to get that emote if someone else gives it to you after they buy the statue, or you buy the statue for yourself for $150. Those emotes come with a $150 price tag, regardless of whether you look at it as an emote with a statue or a statue with an emote. That being said, there's almost always an uproar when SE set something to the cash shop, both here on the subreddit and on the official forums. Without fail, you could go back through every cash shop edition thread and find plenty of posts. Ultimately, they've been nothing but consistent in what they add. The occasional glamour item, mount, emote, and old seasonal items. That's it. The rate at which they put these out hasn't accelerated. You could go back and take tabs on the Mog Station update rate, and it's been pretty consistent all the way through. Yoshida has told us that the money generated from the cash shop is funneled back into the game. It's how they funded the new data centers, for example. Whether you want to believe him or claim that SE is just stealing all that money for their mobile game cash grabs and he's telling a lie is entirely up to you, but I'm going to believe he's being honest and not telling a blatant lie to the community. I really like this game, and I have no issues with throwing a few bucks down every now and again to show a little extra support. But again, that's just me. Not trying to say anyone is wrong for feeling the way they do, because they're not. This is just how I feel. And he does funny YouTube videos, so I'm inclined to listen to him.
I mean, that's very merry, and that is a very astute analysis of the situation. I still think it's a little expensive for an emote, but it's a well done emote, and if people want it, hey, more power to them for buying it. I probably won't buy it for myself, but I'd probably buy it for other people.
I probably will.
So tonight we're going to be giving away. We're not going to give away the Mega Flare emote, but we will give somebody a power up emote. We'll also do a pair of the new Carbuncle slippers, as well as we will also give away a Mog Station minion of your choice. So
It should be a Lalafell.
Should be a Lalafell, because why should it be a Lalafell? They're already small.
Why not?
So what's going to happen is Chille's going to create an alt on your server, and he's going to follow you around.
Yeah, I want to be in there. Yeah, okay.
So
that will be our goal for Extra Life.
If we get like 1,000 followers.
Yeah, I'll just follow someone around for a day.
Are you going to be playing a giant tuba?
Oh, I wish.
Like
that is the dream.
A la Stewie.
That is the dream. Follow the rogue gate and go.
My big pwned. It's a glandular problem. All right. But speaking of Hatching Tide, don't forget, finish your quests up soon. The event ends Monday morning at 7:59 a.m. Pacific time. Or is it 6:59? Something around that time frame. Early morning.
Only fish is like lunchtime for me.
Well, you got to remember, you're a few hours ahead of us. Anyway,
In the future.
so you've got a couple of days if you're watching now. If you're catching us on the podcast, you've got even less time. And if you're catching us after Monday, sorry, you missed it. I do recommend you do the secondary quests. The reward is only a bunch of Hatching Tide themed fireworks, but the cutscenes you get with it are actually really cute. There's a total of 7 different ones. You may have to get some repeats in order to get them all, but they're well worth it. A lot of neat little lore things. Seyrr.
I'm working on it.
I know,
I have to
know.
write incident reports.
I know. So make sure to do that. And then now we're going to have Seyrr's Gacha Roundup, which I helped him write a little bit today.
Thank you very much for that, by the way.
No
Helps me
problem.
Keep up with things.
Exactly.
All right, so what do we have going? Opera Omnia has just added Chapter 7. You'll now be able to recruit Vincent, Zell, and Lael, who is from Crystal Chronicles. A little bit weird on that one.
Well, I suppose they're trying to get a little bit more traction on that.
Yeah, so they created one based on a Crystal Chronicles type thing, gave him some interesting abilities. Kind of themed after the actual. Anyways, Tidus's event is ending in a few days. We're expecting that the next character event will introduce Prish, but there have been hints that we're going to be having a special April Fool's event tomorrow. And the World of Illusions has introduced the Radiant Artifacts, though we got a taste of those with Balthier's event. These are special items that you can get that you combine them, level them up to the maximum, which isn't too difficult, and it gives your characters new passive abilities, which can include some extremely potent ability boosts. Unfortunately, what you get is random, so good luck. You're going to be combining a fair number of them, trying to get the ones that you really, really want. So far, I've gotten a couple decent ones. Final Fantasy Record Keeper is in the midst of their 3rd anniversary with lots and lots of free goodies. This is a really great time to start or to pick it back up if you've been taking a break. Among other things, they have a free 33 poll with a guaranteed 6-star and a second attempt at that for 50 mithril.
How many did you get on yours?
I got 3 6-stars and 1 5-star. And 2 of the 6 stars were fairly good, so I was pretty pleased.
Yeah, I think we got about the same.
Yep. A free 11 pull that gives you a bonus selection of a realm-specific set, including a Healing Soul Break and an Overstrike for characters from that realm. A variety of lucky draws, including their Realms on Parade, where you pay 5 mithril for 3 items with a guaranteed 5-star in the mix. I got Shantoto's Chain out of that. I actually got very few dupes, and I'm really happy with how that one worked out. And they'll be having some more lucky draws coming up. Daily Magic Pot loot dungeons, trivia quiz dungeons, special battles against Ozma, the Cloud of Darkness, and they just opened up Fork Tower about an hour ago.
Yep.
And all of their special power-up dungeons are open for the full duration of the event. In Mobius Final Fantasy, they're wrapping up an event where Supreme Summons have increased drop rates. You still have an opportunity for an extra shot at Support, Mage, or Ranger. I believe, yeah, Support Mage and Ranger Supremes right now.
Or if you're me, you get a chance at just wasting all of your Magicite.
You always have a chance at that. I got Ultima, so now I have both Mage Supremes, and I am very happy to lay waste to everything with hope.
You actually have 3, don't you? Don't you also have Aerith?
Nope. Aerith is a support one, not a mage one, and I don't have her.
Okay, I thought you had her, though. That's the only one I want, and I can't get that one.
Nope. I have 5 Supremes. I have both Ranger, 1 of the Monk, and both Mage.
I hate you even more. We can't be friends.
Yay!
Quiet.
They are going to have, in April, they are going to have the FF13 event returning. They'll be adding the new Legend jobs Cocoon Aviator as a Ranger job. That one's based off of SAS. And SciComm Officer as a Maya job based off of Jill Nabat. They'll also be having a multiplayer battle against Lightning and later on a battle tower facing off against FF13 enemies.
When is this supposed to be coming?
So the event, I believe, is actually supposed to start tomorrow, and it's going to be running long. I forget when the battle tower starts. That's in a few weeks.
Okay.
They are changing it so the paradigms will not be usable in the battle tower this time.
Yeah, because that made it a little bit easy, didn't it?
Yep. They are going to have a limited time return of special FF7, FF14, and FF15 cards with the usual good luck on that. But it's another opportunity for some of the really popular cards that people had really wanted to get. They will have an Easter event where max level egg cards are going to be available as multiplayer rewards. Those cards give a variety of special boosts, no abilities attached to them, but they do give stuff that makes it easier to get skill seeds, have buffs in battle, things like that. And the Hall of Fame will soon be opening up quests for Dragoon, Scholar, and Dancer, if you so you can improve those jobs a bit. Brave Exvius, the main thing I know about is their 30 million download celebration, which has been going for a bit. Lots of free summons, friend point giveaways. It's getting near the end, so it's starting to wind down, but it'll be going for a little while longer. Good luck. May your loot rolls always be absurdly lucky. Not like Klauss's. We're extra not friends, aren't we? Klauss?
He's gone to play those gacha games.
Oh, boy.
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Looks like Klauss is having some minor technical difficulties. So while he's taking care of that...
I just had a really bad coughing fit.
Oh, okay. That's
I'm
a technical difficulty.
Well,
Yeah.
technically with me, I guess, but...
The point of technical difficulties is you don't give details on it, and then no one knows that the news anchor is really drunk again.
Who am I, Ron Burgundy?
I was thinking Kent Brockman, but sure.
They're both infamous, so... All right. Have you gotten any good summons from Brave Exvius, or aren't you going through that one?
I don't play Brave Exvius anymore. I'll keep up with the news on it just to let you guys know what's going on, but it felt too grindy for me.
Yeah. Well, with the download celebration, the free summons, you get a ticket every day, and you get 3 units from that, 2 normal units that you can level up, and then a Moogle that's either 5% or 10% of its limit break. So you can then get it, or trust Moogle, that's what they are. So you can then get the special item.
Which is nice to not have to grind that stuff quite so much.
Yeah. All right, so that's the breakdown of that. And if you guys have any events that are going on your servers that you want us to tell everybody about, you can always let us know. Send us an email, podcast@phoenixstarradio.com. You can hit us up on Twitter at phxdnradio. We'll be more than happy to share these events, like what Dylan did regarding the whole Memphina's Madness Blitzball tournament. So congratulations on that.
Wrong.
Are you still on about that?
Yes.
Did you actually watch the game?
No.
So how do you know they were robbed?
You just know these things. Shut up.
Are you just upset because the team that you supported didn't go on to the finals?
I thought that was patently obvious.
And they didn't earn your respect and your admiration.
They have that.
Oh, they still have that. Okay. I thought maybe you disowned them.
No. I wouldn't be saying they were robbed if I disowned them.
I figured it was like, you either win or you're out of the family.
No. We're a different kind of abusive family here. I mean, wait, what?
All right. Well, let's give something away right now before we get into our discussion topic.
Ooh, loot.
Who wants a pair of carbuncle slippers?
I mean, I do, but I'm pretty sure I'm not eligible.
You are not eligible. That is correct. But anybody in the chat, in Twitch, go ahead and type in exclamation pick me if you want to win a pair of carbuncle slippers. Just
So
let us
fluffy.
know what color they are after we choose a winner, and we will we'll get you that code. One thing that we noticed is the shopping cart feature that they added to the Mog Station does not
At least
work
I
for gift codes.
At least that's what I found anyway.
You have to buy them for yourself only.
It is still nice that they added that feature, though. I know people have complained about their credit card flagging it if they were buying multiple items in a row.
Yeah.
And once it got flagged, then they'd often get insta-banned by SE stuff. It was just bad.
I think I forgot to actually reset from the last giveaway, so I'm sorry. We're gonna have to. Rory, go ahead and re-enter. I had to reset
Klauss.
it. I'm a
Way to
bad.
Klauss.
Yeah, way to do things that I do.
So tautological.
Exactly. Whatever he said, I guess. No, nobody wants to re-enter.
Yeah, we gotta reset the entries, people,
Yes.
so enter again.
Oh, it might help if I open it, I guess. There we go. When you hit reset, it doesn't open. I thought I just emptied everything out. I'm so bad. I need to do more of these so I get used to this.
Try again, Rory.
Yeah, third time's the charm. It's not going to ban you for typing it one more time.
It'll ban you for some unrelated reason.
God, I hope not. All right, so while we wait for the entries to show up in there, let's go ahead and start our discussion topic. Does Final Fantasy XIV recycle too much content? So, we all know Final Fantasy XIV is a theme park MMO.
Rory.
Yes, Rory, one more time. Fair Eyes, you can enter too.
You can all enter.
Anybody who wants can enter.
I mean, if they enter when they've already entered, it doesn't do anything, right?
Exactly. You can. Yeah. Just right now there are no entries. I'm not kidding. I didn't hit the start button on the second time.
Klauss is just like the worst.
Yep. Now you're in. Now you're good.
You know, probably.
Maybe. We're not sure what you're in, but
You're in the giveaway. All right. So anyway, Final Fantasy XIV is a theme park MMO where most of the content is a throwback or a nod to previous games within the series. But are they overusing this and letting real innovation in the game development stagnate? That's kind of what we want to talk about tonight. For example, now this is my opinion. I wrote this up. In my opinion, the last truly new piece of content we got was Diadem. Now, players would grind out enemies, and then random loot with random stats would drop from the coffers. Now, I personally couldn't think of any other game that used something like that in its system. But if there is another game that uses something like that, feel free to correct me and let me know that. But this is the first one that I've seen that used that system. But players soon found the quote-unquote easy button for getting through Diadem, and then the Dino Island strategy was formed. We all remember the Dino Island strategy, right?
I didn't mind that, to be honest.
I didn't. Well, the reason I didn't mind the whole thing was we were spending most of the time bullshitting in Discord. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we were having fun within our party. And that held it for me. But, a lot of people, it made them really hate the way the instance became. It became too grindy and too boring. And then basically the nail in the coffin on this one was the next tier's higher level gear made any drops that we were given in Diadem obsolete. And there wasn't a refresh to the content. So basically the devs let it die.
Yeah, it's kind of a little frustrating. Like, I know on some levels it's a fact of life that the stuff you get is going to be obsoleted, but I've often seen it like when the new expansion comes out, where if you had really good stuff, it's good for a while.
Mm-hmm. But I mean,
like you at least get some.
Yeah. The biggest issue with this is, like I said, the way it was designed, it was basically designed as content for one patch series. And that's it.
The problem is, though, I'm going to bring up my old review. He brought, I think it's my old review, that he brought up the fact that content they design is normally designed just for that patch, which I think is, I don't like that design. I wish they just,
Oh yeah,
the
4.2 interview when we helped you with those questions, that one, right?
Yeah.
That I wasn't too sold on that either. I mean, there's still content that people are running now that is old content. Granted, most people are running it for glamour purposes, but it wouldn't be that difficult to scale the rewards and content to make it relevant for the series you're running.
I think the issue they've got is they're worried they'll have the same issue that Final Fantasy XI had, where there's no point grinding for some of the new gear because your gear gets scaled up so much that there's no point. I mean, what's the point of going for new stuff when your old gear that you've already had will still last you for like another? Well, look at Black Belt for Monk.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying
like 15 years.
I'm not saying that the gear that should last forever.
Yeah.
My thought on it is the rewards that you get should increase. So you would need to then regrind for the next tier of reward. Or maybe you could take the gear you were given and upgrade it. I think that's kind of what they're going to be looking at doing with Animos and with the whole Eureka series. We're going to continue to upgrade the gear we've got.
The problem is that gear is so much under level compared to the time gear.
It's 10 eye levels under.
My understanding was like at least one of my Links members was talking about like it may be a little under, but it also comes with 5 materia slots.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean that part is nice. I mean you get to add 200 of any substat you want at that point.
Guaranteed, nice and safe.
By the way, does anyone love how cheap materia is now?
Not my retainers, who I'm selling it all on. And not getting a bunch of money out of it.
Critical, but 6 materia is now like 30k on my server.
I don't know what those are selling for because I hoard those still.
I like to, what I do is I go through the market board every so often just to see if people are selling them for stupid price and then buying them.
So you can hoard them and use them?
Or if depend on what material is.
Or flip it?
Yeah. I'll flip it normally.
Okay. Well, see, I'm not...
Depending on the material, though.
Yeah,
like, if it's really cheap still, what I do is... by the way, this is a tip. This is going to crash that market probably still as well. But if you ever get a lot of T6 materials for stuff that you know is not really going to do well, like Piety, Dexterity, Vitality, I think Parry still... not Parry, I mean Tenacity is still on materia that people use. Don't forget the Goblin on Central Fanalan, where you can trade in the materia and then hopefully get something better. Like you can if you trade in 5/6s, you might have a chance to get a Gathering 6 or a Crafting 6,
which are still worth a lot.
Flip for 300k.
Yeah, because they're not as readily available.
Yeah.
Yeah, I personally I'm not as concerned about getting the tier 6s, at least the battle ones. I have so many cracked clusters that I can just pick up any that I need. But no, I know what you're saying. These lockboxes we got, it really crashed a lot of markets like that. But
I handed in about 400 lockboxes. I ended up with 60 Determination 5s.
Oh god damn!
Wow.
Just a couple.
Yeah.
You were full of determination.
Yeah. Had 10 Determination 6s.
Well, maybe Chille was working on Undertale. I don't know. But anyway, we got sidetracked.
As we do.
Thanks, Chille. So
no problem.
I guess my point on that was, the content wasn't refreshed with tier relevant rewards. We didn't, the eye level didn't increase on new gear that was being given out of there that could have made it more accessible for longer periods of time. I mean, we basically had it for that patch and a half, and then it was dead for a full 2 patches, and then they tried to bring it back with the emergency missions and all the fate grinding, and it died even faster then.
You see all that fate grinding, but like 4 days after people realized that the emergency missions are random, fate grind just became, we'll do this main mission and then we'll just sit at the base AFK until the mission pops up.
Yeah, once you know the bit that you care about.
Yeah, that's basically it. Also, congratulations, Aurori. Let us know what color of slippers you want. We will get those sent to you after the episode. So where was I then? So basically, at that point, they stopped making this original content, and they opted for the safer content, based off of other games. Basically, continuing to reinforce the theme park mentality of the game.
Yeah, Eureka in particular, like the name itself taken from FF3, but then how much of it is combat-wise based really strongly on a lot of FF11 aspects, and location and lore-wise off of FF5. It is kind of neat to have that reference, but at the same time, there's part of me that feels like lazy is not the word I want, because it does feel like they put their own spin on it, but at the same time, it does start to feel like this is a world that's pieced together from other worlds.
Well, and the enemies come from a lot of Final Fantasy XI.
Which, I mean, that's been a thing all throughout. Like, a lot of the enemies through various have been reused from other Final Fantasies. They've reused those assets a fair bit.
A lot of the gear comes directly from Final Fantasy XI.
Fucking Scorpion Harness.
I mean, it looks amazing, but...
It looks terrible.
People have time. Can we speculate how we think the end is?
No, not for this. Not for this. Okay. That would be another discussion topic, Chille.
Okay.
What do you think this is? A Moogle round?
No, it was because of the monster. I really think there's going to be. I really think they sort of teased the final boss.
I mean, it's not Pazuzu? Anyway.
Pazuzu Chew?
You choose you. No, the most popular content we get in Final Fantasy XIV is something that draws its influence from past Final Fantasy games. Not only character names and designs, but story. Our Stormblood raid tiers with Deltascape and Sigmascape. The raids themselves draw directly from Final Fantasies 5 and 6. The boss itself, Omega, comes from a number of Final Fantasies, though this iteration is from Final Fantasy V. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah. No, this one's...
Yeah, this one's 5 because it battles against Shinryu.
5's well, I mean, at this point, they've had Omega go against Shinryu in a number of them, but 5 was the one that started that whole thing, so I feel comfortable saying that's the inspiration. I mean, I guess the thing it does sometimes create an interesting dynamic in the sense of, it's like, hey, I'm going into this fight that, even though it's my first time doing it, I feel like on some level I know something about it. I know a little bit of what to expect, what's going to be coming, which I feel like a lot more people have been raiding in this, doing like the Savage Raids and doing raiding in general with this one than with the previous ones. And some of that may be the, hey, I know this. Like, it gets over a little bit of that unfamiliarity that can be intimidating. So in that sense, I can see how it could be a nice thing. I'm just not quite sure about the trade-offs here.
I mean, if we go back to the 2.0 series and the Coils of Bahamut, granted, yes, the name drew off of, Bahamut, which has been in almost every Final Fantasy.
Pretty much every. I don't think there's anywhere he hasn't been made in some form or another, been referenced, if not directly appeared.
Yeah, I mean, he was the king, or one of the underwater kings in 1, I believe, right?
No, you went to his castle, you did the stuff, brought the thing that would get you
tail.
the
Yeah, that's right. You bring the tail, and yeah. I thought you had to go underwater to get to him, but maybe I'm just imagining that.
I'm not sure at this point.
Anyway, so he's referenced in every game. He's not always a dragon, I don't think, in every game. Maybe he is, but he might be a dragon king or something like that in that game. But he looks very different in Final Fantasy 1. I'll say that he doesn't look like a big bad dragon. Then again, not a lot of the enemies don't look like themselves when you see the small version. Anyway, the storyline is very original. And I think that was the most popular endgame content we've had in Final Fantasy XIV, by far. A lot of people didn't like it because the storyline was locked behind very difficult fights, though.
Yeah. That's something that, again, talking about 11... the relic the relic weapon quest lines actually had some interesting bits of lore, interesting bits that filled out a lot of the history of the world, and all sorts of other stuff added to it for content that at the time, not even 1% of the player base seemed to be expected to complete. Like their model seemed to be like this entire link shell, this entire dynamic shell will work together to get this one person their weapon.
Oh God. I mean, and if it didn't work out that way, I mean, it would break link shells.
Yeah, but I mean, even when it did work out, it's like, okay, you have this neat little thing that this one, like all these scenes, the stuff filling it in, that one person gets to enjoy. Yeah.
I mean, granted, everybody who joins in on those runs is able to then, get a few spoils. Like they're able to get, some other relic pieces of armor, some other rare drops that show up. So I mean, it's not like it's an absolute loss. And the time spent in there, I remember it was fun, but just gathering all of that ancient currency for one person to get their shiny weapon and do it for months at a time.
For me, it was mostly why spend all this time developing this content, developing these parts of the world that you don't expect anyone to ever see?
Yeah, you're not wrong there. So, but I mean, then like I said, they went basically the entirely different opposite route. In 3.0 and 4.0. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't mind the fact that they made the content in 2 tiers. One for everybody who can go through, and then basically the replay where the difficulty is amped up by a factor of 10.
Mm.
I mean, that part is fine. I mean, let people see the storyline. Don't make people have to go to YouTube to watch other people play through it.
It's like saying, "Oh, you can watch the cutscenes in the end later." It is so.
Not God! I mean, I never really, was a fan of that whole idea. It's like, when we had, and I'm glad personally that Square Enix is standing up to that and making sure that the main story roulette can't be skipped now, for cutscenes.
Like, it's such a formative thing in terms of the, like, hey, you're having this really climactic experience, really setting the tone for a lot of stuff. And I'm glad that newer players get that opportunity too.
Yep. I mean, the way it was designed, it's very cinematic, it's very flowing, and you lose some of that if you're forced to skip it and watch it later. But I mean, then there's also a reason why they no longer do that.
Yeah.
Because it is very disruptive to everybody else. But those dungeons were still a lot of fun.
Plus, you get to watch the beginning of the tumultuous love story that is Sid/Nero. Everyone knows those two just need to bang.
Yeah, they're totally shipped together. I'm hoping Chille rejoins us here shortly. Anyway, so like we said, Eureka's pulling a lot of influence from Final Fantasy XI. The Return to Ivalice storyline that has deep ties with Final Fantasy Tactics and Final Fantasy XII.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, granted, they're playing off the nostalgia factor, going back to the fact that, hey, we're referencing these games that we played in our formative youths, and, have very, happy memories about, and in some cases, rose-tinted glasses, 11.
I mean, at this point, a lot... like we've kind of reached a point in the industry where a lot of the people who are doing the development are people who grew up on playing these games as well. Like for them, it's also a, hey, this is something I remember. This is something that I finally get to tell my story of it, express my stuff with it.
But
So I can understand that a little bit of that impulse.
But the problem that I'm seeing with all of this is they're no longer taking those chances and giving us fresh, new content. Something that we haven't seen in another game. I don't care if they reference a name that's been featured within another Final Fantasy game. In fact, I would expect that. But I really don't want them to rip 90% of the story off of that as well. That's my gripe right now. Don't get me wrong. I love this game. I wouldn't be in this game if I didn't. I wouldn't be streaming it every goddamn day if I didn't care for this game. But I want this game to succeed. And the thing that I'm noticing is, and I actually have heard this from other people within the community, there is no fresh, new content in Final Fantasy XIV. Chille, welcome back.
Thank you.
How much of that did you miss?
I missed a lot of it. Windows 10 decided that I wanted to update it.
Did you? Well, I mean, I guess Windows 10 said, so...
Windows 10 said and rebooted it.
Cortana forced it.
Ooh, that sounds non-consensual.
Yes. Cortana? Never mind. Never mind.
Consensual. I even clicked no, and she still did it.
Ooh.
Oh, Cortana.
I forgot the safety word.
It's Mac OS. Linux. So Chille.
That's probably someone's safe word, and I don't want to think about that.
Chille, what are your thoughts? Do you think there has been any original content within Final Fantasy XIV lately?
It's been a while since even the story just feels like the story-wise, I'm gonna get that. I don't mind it, but you're right. Eureka just feels like it's all previous games stuck together, which is nice, but at the same time, hopefully with the future content, they're just gonna use it to expand it to be something different. Maybe the basis of it was so samey, so that people would get used to the idea of it, and maybe in the future it'll expand and be slightly different.
Yeah, it's a little tricky because this stuff is too unfamiliar and too strange. It can be difficult to get people to give it a chance.
But I mean, if we get into the habit of expecting to know what we're getting, I think that's going to doom the franchise, or at least this game even more.
We've pretty much known what we're getting since like 2.2. Every patch cycle is pretty much exactly the same patch cycle. Well,
I mean, that part it's not what I'm concerned about, or even, I'm not even concerned about the fact that we're only getting, 3 dungeons every 2 patches right now.
But I'm so happy that I called that correctly.
I'm not happy that you called that correctly.
The whole expert and the 70 dungeon.
Oh, yeah, I mean that they're... somewhat trying to keep that stuff together, because like the next one we get will go stacked onto the current dungeons, and that I like. But the fact that they're taking away what people have called the mindless loot tunnels, these grinding dungeons, in exchange for development time on this quote unquote new original content. Isn't that what we were promised?
I think the other thing is, like, the Eureka, I know we talked a little bit about this, or I'm not sure if we talked about it here, but like the Magia board system, like in theory it's this thing where you have all this stuff shift around. In practice it becomes put all this stuff in one and switch it around based on your role.
Yeah.
But like there's more so than in other stuff, it seems like they're for other stuff, there's you theory craft and you find this optimal one, but there's other ways that aren't necessarily, maybe not optimal, but still viable ways to do it. But for the Magia board, it's just like so obvious from the get-go, okay, go to this, switch to this thing, go back to town if you need to refuel.
Yeah.
Like,
But they
the
already-
depth on it feels severely lacking, and that's one of the things that does make it feel a little like there's not something really interesting in there. Like, they did take this stuff, add on to it, but not in a way that actually makes it feel interesting.
But they said before that they made the first Eureka simplified compared to what they plan to do with the Magi board in the future.
I'm hoping
Yeah.
they plan to expand on it. Maybe the next iteration will have, I think Chille, you mentioned this. Maybe we'll have multiple elements that we'll have to guard against.
Yeah,
Um,
dual type enemies.
Yeah, I mean, like, can definitely speculate on that, and I'm sure there's like some interesting stuff that they could do. Just
But-
part of me feels a little annoyed at it right now. I
Yeah.
feel like
right
this
now,
is-
stack all 5 in one element. If you're a tank, you stack it in defense. If you're a DPS, you stack it into attack. And
But I mean, like,
spin
this
it,
is something.
repeat.
This is something that pretty much anyone playing it can see. Okay, yeah, this is how you should do it.
By the way, it was Aurori that won, right? Congratulations
Yes,
again.
it was a Rory. And
Congratulations on your Moogle slippers.
carbuncle slippers.
Carbuncle.
Carbuncle, Moogles.
Well, I
all
think
the
she'd
same,
probably
right?
take if you can find a pair of Moogle slippers to ship to her. I'm sure she might take those too. But I guess I think the development team is scared of failure.
I mean, understandably so, but
Yeah.
still.
I also think that the player base is a little bit too unforgiving.
What? People on the internet unforgiving of game things? What a
Oh
crazy
my
idea.
god,
I
what
know,
crazy magic science are you thinking of, Klauss?
I don't know.
I don't know why we should trust your opinion on anything.
Yeah, because I'm on the internet. Ooh. But I wish that they would stick their neck out a little bit more and come up with something that's, unique to Final Fantasy 14. Not just unique to Final Fantasy, sorry, but 14. And
Well, they say there's that thing that's coming out eventually that's never been seen in MMOs, remember?
I thought that was supposed to be
No.
Eureka.
I don't think that's Eureka.
I thought that they said that Eureka was supposed to be that thing.
I don't know. I don't think
Well,
so.
Eureka's never been seen because it's a mishmash of all the Final Fantasies. But
And it's never been seen before in an MMO.
I
Your
don't know.
mom's never been seen before in an MMO. Puzzle games are more her thing.
Well, Paul's mom has. She plays with him.
Awesome.
What other thoughts? I mean, you guys listening here on Twitch, do you guys have any thoughts that you want to add on to this?
Yeah, let's get some people in for conversation.
I would like to hear what Fair Eyes has to think. If Aurori has an opinion, anybody who's listening here live on Twitch, we would really appreciate it. If you don't want to come on to the show, you can type it out in the chat, and we'll share your opinion with everybody. But
Like, I want to know who Electrical Skateboard is. He comes to a lot of my streams.
yeah, he's in ours too. So, although while we're waiting for that information, your thoughts, guys.
It's kind of tricky for me because I'm definitely at a point where I've played so many of them that the nostalgia angle is really appealing. There's that glimmer of, oh, I recognize this, which I'll admit that, like, it may be a little lazy, but there is also a little bit, hey, it's fun. I'm in on the joke. I'm in on the thing. Like, there is something that is nice about that. And I recognize that it's maybe not necessarily, like, it's maybe a little bit lower effort, even as I say, I got that reference. So I feel conflicted about it because I enjoy it, but I also feel weird that I enjoy it.
No, you're right. I mean, like I said, I'm sitting here right now in all of the Final Fantasy XI glamour gear. Yet here I am complaining that we're getting too much recycled content, but it's kind of the joke, I guess.
If
So,
they had a
Cowboy.
fucking scorpion harness.
Are you mad you didn't get your +1 or something like that?
No, I specifically I passed up multiple opportunities to get a scorpion harness. Thank you.
You didn't like the side boob?
So ugly.
I've always thought it was that the harness was actually a sharp design in Final Fantasy XI. It was one of my favorite armor designs. The bone and beetle
what you're-
armor were amazing.
So what
Oh,
you're
yeah.
saying is you've always had no taste.
Hey, don't fetish shame.
No,
That's not where I was going with this, but okay.
we don't kink shame here. Come on.
Not even if it's Klauss? Don't we make special exceptions for Klauss?
No,
Fine.
we don't kink shame the person who controls the microphones.
Shit. Why do I always forget about that?
No, I'm teasing. I like I said, if I screw up, I'm always gonna want to be the first one to know about it, or I'll probably be the first one to say it.
Okay, then I'm going to tell you that you screwed up with scorpion harnesses.
Well, that's just like your opinion, man.
Yes.
You're not even wearing a supplica to go with it.
I mean, you do need a subligar if you're going to do that. That's also a fine tradition. Oh man, I remember after one of the fishing updates in 11 where you could see what other people were catching, where there was like huge amounts of people on the Selbina ferry, and one guy who would shout congratulations anytime anyone caught a subligar. It was actually kind of great.
All right, we're getting Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, back when I was in college, I used to sit, while I did my homework, just sit on the boat for hours and try and pretend to be like a fair, the boat guy in charge of the boat, telling people where to stand.
I mean, really, as long as you didn't actually get off of it, you could ride on that thing indefinitely, I think.
Yeah, I was there for about 12 hours once.
Yeah, I mean, you could keep getting back on it because you didn't have to repay again until you left that little zone and you talked to that person and walked through the gate.
This is my life now. I ride the seaways.
All right, we did get some feedback from some people in the chat. Aurori says, I like Eureka, even though people aren't playing it like it's designed to be, but whatever. Now, that is definitely a thing. It is not played the way the designers had envisioned it.
Though, oh my god, like, those first few levels were so grindy.
But they were fun. Going to find a set of mobs that were close to your level, or that gave you optimal experience for your level, I should say. Generally, you would be fighting something 4 to 5 levels higher than you. And you would get
those shadow race were so good.
You mean when you hit 20 and didn't need experience anymore?
About 17.
Oh, you were fighting with them then?
Yeah, 17, 18, and I was getting about 700 XP a kill.
Oh, wow. I mean, I heard that at 19 they were still giving about 600 still, so yeah.
Anyways.
Fair Eyes had quite a bit to say. Just want content that one patch later I could still go back to and there will be people in it. I don't want to form a special party for something that no one is doing now. Definitely understandable on that. Yeah, because, I mean, that goes back to Diadem. I mean, basically, you have to form a special party if you want to go in there now. You can't just, say, hey, let's do some Diadem. Okay. But nope. As for Eureka, I think those that haven't played 11, like myself, it lacks really anything other than it looks pretty, especially now that some of the items are tradable.
But not the mounts, which is stupid. I want to trade the mounts.
I know. I've got 5 mounts and 2 bardings that I'm hanging on to right now because I'm hoping that eventually they'll become tradable. I don't care if they become sellable. That part I don't care about. I would like to be able to give Fair Eyes a dinosaur mount. I would like to be able to give my sister, when she comes back to the game, a dinosaur mount. Share it with...
Clever girl.
Yeah, Diadem and level 60 maps. Nobody are doing those right now. And there are minions and mats for glamour that Fair Eyes missed out on. And but right now, if you want to do Aquapolis, and if you want to go gather items in Diadem or get some of those certain minions or whatever that are available from the chest drops,
There's actually some Orchestrion rolls that I still want to get from Aquapolis. So.
Oh yeah, you have to get a big party together to do any of that. Because
I find it funny that you how people need the items from Aquapolis still, but people won't run it, so it just goes up
and up and
and up.
up. I mean,
Yep, if you can actually find someone, you can make a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, there are people who still have a bunch of those maps. I mean, the maps are easy to get. The chests are easily soloable. However, you need a party to get into Aquapolis because that is level synced at, I believe, 240.
So I can report from experience that it can be done as a duo or a trio, but still certainly not a solo level activity.
Yes, it's very difficult. You got to have a tank and a healer, and if they can do decent DPS, you can get by with that. But otherwise, a good DPS helps.
It's a fun challenge, but still pretty limiting.
What if they unsynced it?
Well, then you could probably easily solo it, and more people would do it. But then again, it becomes content that nobody's still doing. I mean, I can go in and solo Garuda Extreme if I want to now, pretty easily. I don't think I can solo. I did solo Ifrit Extreme.
Oh, nice.
I can't solo Titan though.
And that's one of those things, like, if they, I know oftentimes people say, hi, I'd like this to be a bit relevant, and taking off those level sync turns into something where it's like, okay, go and see if you can solo it. But at the same time, like, people don't necessarily want to go back and spend a large amount of time on something that is only providing glamorous rewards. It's kind of a tricky place to be in.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I take it back. Aquapolis, that was more original content.
I said that.
I mean, that was kind of the Tactics Ogre thing going on with it, at least with part of the story.
But the content itself was pretty original-ish.
It's original for an MMO.
Yeah, there's roguelike aspects to it. I mean, I certainly enjoy those.
And I mean, I guess the idea behind it, I don't believe is 100% original, but that's, not exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about something original within Final Fantasy, or original for Final Fantasy XIV. And I would say, Palace of the Dead probably does qualify for the most part.
That's the thing. They do try to do original content, but at the same time, they've got to keep making sure they get the standard content done as well, because otherwise people that only really play that will then start complaining that there's nothing for them to do. Well, so they're in a bind. They want to do new stuff, but they can't do new stuff if they don't have the staff.
And thinking about it, like, if you want to keep attracting new players, if it is something that's an entirely new story, you can run into the issue of, okay, what brings new people in? Like, if they hadn't cared about it until this point, what makes them care now? Yeah. But if you're making reference to lots of those previous Final Fantasies, then people who have been playing those, especially with a lot of the remakes, may be like, oh, hey, this thing is playing with that. Like, the theme park thing, I can see how that would attract people in and help keep bringing people in, which is one of the big challenges for an MMO.
Yeah, but like I said, I'm not saying
it's a weird position to be in, and I can see why they would be doing it, even as part of me says, "Hey, this feels a bit much sometimes."
Like I said, I'm not saying get rid of all theme park style content. I like the references. I like reliving some of my childhood experiences, through a game that I'm playing now. But like
one
I said,
does wonder where they're striking the balance.
It would be nice to see, for every couple of pieces of theme park content we get something that's original to this theme park. Something that is, one of a kind for Final Fantasy XIV. And like I said, we've given
hopeful.
Go ahead.
Oh, I am hopeful for that. Words brain thing. I am hopeful for that as we expand more into what's going on with Garlemald, because although the idea of this particular empire is something empire is like an RPG tradition, a lot of the specifics of this one do seem particular to this world, and so since it feels like future expansions may be taking us toward there, I'm really hopeful that that's going to be an opportunity to breathe some really original life into the setting.
Yeah.
Are we going to Garlemald in the next expansion?
We don't know.
Probably.
It's a good, we probably will, but we don't know. We could go to Mycidia. We could go to Favnir. We could go to the moon.
I actually think the moon would be like the next expansion afterwards, which would be cool because I want to go to the moon. We're sailing on we're gathering on the moon.
With
You
a harpoon.
Carry a harpoon.
Why
Wait,
would I
what?
gather or carry a harpoon?
Spearfisher.
Fisherman. Yeah, spear fisherman.
But there ain't no fish.
So we have some niche.
Some hot dish.
I-
and
sing
sing a very
this.
bad tune.
Yeah, this was a bad idea from the get-go.
Well,
it's not our first one, but you know what? We went with it. So SE.
Yeah.
I mean, if something was we knew something was a bad idea and we went with it anyways, I'm not sure that's a point in our favor.
No, I don't think that'd be like Square Enix. Like, this is pretty bad. You know what? We'll publish it anyway, just in case. That sounds like something EA would do. I mean, what?
You mean Ubi? You mean no? Never mind.
So
we don't want to
much
get on
shade thrown.
crafter fishing from the makers of cloud fishing.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense. I read it as crate fishing.
Crater fishing. Yeah, sorry.
Oh,
Crater fish.
I can't read. It looked like crafter for a second. Like you're
Now
gonna
I'm
fish up
thinking about
crafters.
Or maybe like the crafters doing something. It's like a multi-class synth where you have to like pull out particular things or drop in particular things in the middle of the synth. This is a terrible idea. Why is anyone letting me go ahead with it?
Because
we've
it's
got cloud
amazing.
fishing. Now we've got 0G fishing.
You just watch it float above us.
Yeah.
As we see the fish just kind of spinning
skyfish.
around.
Skyfish.
I mean, given the weirdness of the ecosystems we've already seen, which the fishing log frequently lampshades.
Well, yeah. I don't know. But like I said, it's just something that we wanted to bring up and talk about. Those of you listening on the podcast, we want to hear you guys weigh in as well. How far off base were we? Do you agree with what we said? Let us know. Podcast@phoenixradio.com. You can throw that shade at us at PHXDN Radio on Twitter. Just let us know what your thoughts are, because we'd love to hear those and we'll read them back. Who wants to give away a power-up emote? Who wants to win one? That's the biggest one.
That should get a bit more of a response, I hope.
Because I want to give one away.
Now, just to, for those who may not know about it, this is one they added to the Mog Station. We're kind of doing this supercharging, floating into the air motion, I believe.
Yeah, you scream, go, ah!
Pretty much.
Yep, you can live out your Dragon Ball Z fantasies within Final Fantasy XIV.
Yeah, I'm surprised my rating keeps it around.
All right, so we'll open that up for people, whoever wants that.
Oh, look, we got 2 entries this time.
Woohoo!
Delicious loot.
Aw. Is it lapsed over 60 days or over 30 days, Linalieta? Because you can join the free login campaign and you can use it. And hopefully you'll come back soon. The code is good for a while.
Yep, you can also always redeem the code and then deal it later. Words are hard.
Yeah, you pick it up from the Mog Mail. You can see it looking awesome when you get a crit on an Adlo. There you go. You healed for over 9. Never mind.
No.
Okay, you need new jokes.
I don't watch Dragon Ball Z much. The only thing I know of is it looks like they're really constipated for about 3 episodes. And it's about 5 minutes of real life time.
You could always do the I need an adult, I am an adult thing. Even I know about that.
Chille does that too often, so I figured I would let him beat that dead horse. I've got my own dead horse I beat. I mean,
I don't need to know about your fetishes, Klauss.
Yeah, stop bringing up your kinks again, Klauss. What did we tell you?
Sorry, I've been watching the new season of Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events.
Yeah.
And that actually
that has fetishes?
No, it has dead horses.
Literature.
It has dead horses.
Oh, that's more acceptable.
So All right. So we have lore. It's
We
like
have lore hastily written in between trying to write up incident reports, but we'll go with it.
So maybe some of the reports will sneak in.
that would be funny.
And then Thaliak was arrested by
By Officer Jones.
right.
Arraignment will be
Yeah, my personal and work life do not need to cross over that hard. They don't need to cross over at all.
But they
All
do.
right, but yes.
But you're
since we've
dealing
been-
with a smooth criminal.
Not acknowledging.
Seyrr, are you okay?
I'm okay.
You're
I mean,
okay,
I'm
Seyrr?
not okay. I'm not okay, but I'm going to pretend I'm okay and purposefully ignore the reference you are poorly making for the sake of making this show go on. I am being a goddamn trooper here. Oh, hey, that eye twitch is back. That's awesome.
Woo! We
Not
did
even
it.
joking. I have this occasional eye twitch, and it's been back the last few days.
Oh.
Can't imagine why.
We did it,
Well,
Chille
Chille.
was happy about the law, so
I should probably do some like meditation or whatever, stress busting things. But I can at least tell you guys a little bit about, since we've been going through the 12, I wanted to save my favorite one for last. So we're going to go ahead today and talk about my patron, Thaliak the Scholar. Now, he's known as the ruler of rivers and wisdom. He's the god of knowledge and the patron deity of Sharlayan, associated with the third month of the year, which, again, happily for me, is my birthday. Woo! And the element of water. The third month of the year, in this case being kind of the March one, you have this time of like the spring beginning, the thaw, rivers are beginning to flow again. So I can see why they'd have that association, the god of rivers, with this kind of time of them starting up again. He's usually shown as a reserved scholar holding an ashen staff. I found that whole reserved description really interesting. Like this scholar who's kind of keeping to themselves, a little bit quiet, really engaged in the search for knowledge. Plays it really nicely with Sharlayan, which for a very long time has had this attitude of like, we are gathering the knowledge, we are learning things, but it is not ours to interfere with things. We just watch and observe, but like kind of, again, taking this reserved, distancing themselves from the world and its concerns. He emerged from was one of the earlier deities to emerge from the world, who joined with Azema, the sun goddess, to father two daughters, Limlayan and Nofika, the goddess of navigation in the seas and the goddess of fertility. So you can kind of have an interesting interplay of the sun and the rivers and a lot of these various natural aspects. Very much a lot of the natural cycle stuff going on here. Azema was described as being attracted to his sagacity. Not entirely sure if there's anything to make of that, but it stood out to me for some reason or another. He also ended up serving as a teacher and mentor to Biragot. Biragot the Builder, of course, his adoptive father was Rhalgr, but Biragot's more interested in building things, creating things, so Rhalgr as the Destroyer, not someone whose teachings he was really interested in, and so he ended up studying under Thaliak and turning the scholar's knowledge into all sorts of techniques and things to build. Most of the references to Thaliak that we do find do show up around Sharlayan. You have Sharlayan astrology refers to the, is it Ewer or Oyer? I keep hearing different things of how you pronounce it. I should check that. I think it's Ewer.
I think so, yes.
Yeah, the Ewer, which is kind of a fancy word for an urn or jug. That card actually described as one from which Thaliak kind of pours forth the water that forms the rivers that go all over Hydaelyn, which for some reason brought to mind one that we've seen in a lot of other Final Fantasies, Famfrit, who holds a jug that often has water coming from it. They use this in various types of attacks, and also that association kind of with Aquarius, the water bearer, which does have a fair amount of its time. No, I think Aquarius is in February, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, Aquarius is February. Never mind.
No, Aquarius is January. End of January.
January, February, I think. Aquarius.
Because I'm an Aquarius, and I'm 23rd of January.
Yeah, my best friend's an Aquarius, and he's February 7th. So,
Which god is the one for Aquarius?
so if we're
involving-
talking about the second month, that would be here we are. That's the fourth moon. Menfina the Lover.
Oh, sweet! I did pick the right one then. Yes.
Yep. So it is
Thank you.
kind of interesting, like Thaliak the Scholar, the one who carries this ewer from which pours all this water. Like, that's a water bearer if you ever had one. So it's kind of interesting how those interplay with our zodiac system. Huh? I should actually check into. Is that a? Huh? That would be okay. Look at that later.
Lore extra credit.
No, this is always kind of fun when in the middle of talking something out, it's like, oh hey, you make that connection, and then like have to remember that I still need to tell you guys about the things. I should not sidetrack myself too much in the middle of my own segment.
But you will anyway.
Oh, I totally will. But yeah, given the patron deity, most of a lot of the references that we see do show up in those Dravanian hinterlands around Charlayan. Let me pull up that map there. The Dravanian hinterlands. So you have things like the huge river that flows through the center of the hinterlands is the Thaliak River, with that very large area where the waterfall is called the tipped ewer. The idea of the ewer that's been tipped over and the water spilling out over the edge of it. Really nice, evocative description there. Several fish like the Scholar Sculpin, which according to the fish guide, it was named after Thaliak the Scholar, and because it had a tendency to swim back and forth between two specific spots, they would actually attach messages to use it as a way to deliver messages up and down the river. Kind of the like aquatic equivalent of a homing pigeon, I suppose. Let's see. Various other fish that are in there. Not super relevant to this. It's one that doesn't seem to come up a lot with the others. One thing that I did take note of that I thought was really interesting is that they do draw a very clear distinction between Thaliak and Althik, who have a lot of the same syllables, and I wonder if like one's kind of a scrambling of the other. But Althik being more of the god of history, and the fact that Althik specifically covers history tells us that Thaliak is a little bit more of like knowledge and understanding. I think of it like kind of scientist and social scientist, where with Thaliak there's a lot of like kind of the naturalist stuff, kind of the experimenter, the one who observes the world, but not necessarily looking at the chronicling the events of man, the history. It's kind of more of a interest in the world around him, but kind of separate from that sort of human interest in the historical stuff that Althik. I'm not quite sure that I'm phrasing this well, but it seems interesting that they kind of made that division in the disciplines there. And let's see. We do have, of course, the heaven and hell of water, where Thaliak added took the essence of a melted star, added knowledge, and poured it forth to create a river running through the heaven of water, where you have scholars and inventors, as well as teachers and entrepreneurs. I think that entrepreneurs is the favorite of Naimia, those who are like kind of the ones who are taking a chance in a good way, like taking a risk, investing, and developing the world through that. And as that water falls down from the heavens into the hells, it forms a stagnant lake where they drown deceivers, counterfeiters, mountebanks, and false prophets. And so that's, again, these people who are taking this knowledge and using it in this bad way, kind of perverting it. Let's see, what else do we have? Not as much in terms of other structures. Of course, when I was trying to find information about the scholar, I was finding plenty of information about Nimian scholars, but those of very different. Nim, of course, was devoted to Oshan, and those ones seemed a little bit less than scholar in the sense of like naturalist scientist who's researching all this stuff, and a little bit more of, again, the military strategist tactician aspect. So although the names are the same, they do cover different spheres of influence. And had trouble finding a lot of the specifics that I could tie to real world mythology. I mean, you certainly have lots of gods of knowledge and wisdom, but a lot of them have other aspects. You don't have as much of like the kind of quiet, withdrawn ones. A lot of the ones that show up tend to be more those who are kind of like granting that knowledge to humanity, like acting as sources of wisdom and knowledge, and this like font of inspiration. Font. Because yeah, font is like what. That's where that term comes from. Interesting. The association between water and knowledge and wisdom, it's like a long-running one. I've had a little bit of trouble understanding exactly how that association developed, but there is a running association between water and this idea of like this knowledge, this wisdom, this deep sagacity. So it makes a lot of sense that they would have their god of rivers also be the god of knowledge. And yeah, that's about what I've got for Thaliak.
Yay!
Still the best god. People should go around and know stuff. Though, maybe at this point I'm starting to feel like it needs to be tempered a little bit more with some of the other stuff.
We all know what happens when you get tempered.
Yeah.
You get lovely
like,
chocolate.
That's one of the things that we often see as sort of this, the sin of Charlatan, that they have all this knowledge, all this stuff, all these things that could improve things so much, but they kind of withdraw. They keep to themselves. They're so afraid of the effect that their knowledge could have on the world that they end up not doing anything with it. And while that fear is understandable, it's also something that in the end creates a lot more suffering. It was Louis Soir and the Circle of Knowing who decided to rebel against that and actually give us the means to fight against the primals and to take on the threat of Dalamud and Bahamut. And it's because of that we even have Eorzea today.
Yeah, because if he didn't do what he did, everything would have been kind of kaboomed.
Yep. Yeah, the only reason that we had any kind of fighting chance was because we had people who said it wasn't enough to just know these things, that the knowledge without action, without application was meaningless.
Very true. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
Now, if there's something else that you would like to hear about in regards to lore within our game, let us know. You can you can get a hold of Seyrr on Twitter at FFXIV Seyrr, Seyrr, correct?
Yep. And I mean, I finished all of the 12, so at this point, I do not have a handy go-to topic if I can't think of something for lore segments. So now more than ever, I would love to hear what you guys want to know about.
You can also hit us up on our Twitter at PHXDN Radio. You can email your suggestions, podcast@phoenixdownradio.com. You can even come into the Lorebrary in the Phoenix Down Radio Discord chat. We have a dedicated chat channel just for lore. And in there we get a lot of interesting discussions with Seyrr, Ethis, Anonymous, anybody who's interested.
I will mention that Anonymous has told me he keeps an eye on a lot of servers that maintain a lore forum, and if an interesting discussion starts up, he will pop in. So we get to see him fairly frequently, actually.
Yes, and it's awesome because he's a lot of fun to read about what he puts down there when he decides to vomit all that lore.
That's not how I describe it.
And
I mean, in general, he's just an interesting guy.
He is.
It's fun to talk with him.
I mean, that was probably one of my favorite episodes when we had the three of you just, discuss the fifth calamity. That was pretty amazing. Yep. The lore of the Magi.
Ah, that was a good time.
It was. It was a good one. All right. So we did get some tweets in response to us hitting 450 Twitch followers. Somebody named at Chille at Chille UK, at Erinthios, and at Delmonte B all said congrats. And Avi Ale said, yay, hard work pays off, heart, heart, heart. So thank you so much for that. It means a lot to us, when we get more follows like that. It means that we're starting to grow and, become, known in the community. That's what we're shooting for.
Also, this is just a lot of work, and it's nice to know that people appreciate it.
Exactly.
The people who do these kinds of podcasts, I never really appreciated until we started ourselves just how much work it is every week. And how much it keeps you going to hear that, yeah, people like it.
Yes, I mean, we don't just all the time show up, sit down, and start talking. We plan a lot of these out in advance, so we have some ideas on the discussion we're going to have, and the things we're going to talk about. Some of the things do end up becoming like, oh yeah, shoot, we got a podcast today, don't we? We better get something down. Very rarely, but we do try to have ideas as to what we're going to discuss for the next episode. That being said, I have no idea what we're going to discuss yet on the 13th, but we'll come up with something. So, how about shout-outs?
So I'll give a shout out to Kyle Spender, best friend of mine for, 15 years now, who accompanied me on the Tataki Chronicles fate, staying up until 2 a.m. because when we came across it, it was about on the 4th or 5th fade in, and because I kind of wanted to do the entire thing, he willingly sat around while they let them die on that fate just to reset it to the beginning so we could have the full experience. And we went through that entire thing until 2 a.m. with hanging out and chatting the entire time, and it was just a really fun time. So thanks, man.
Cool. And how can they
also
find you?
shout out to the other library staff members who totally have each other's back when we have to do something that requires us to write up an incident report. It is a little less scary when you know that you've got people to back you up. So shout out to you guys, even though I don't know that any of you listen. And you can follow me on Twitter at FFXIVSEYRR. Mostly random tweets of interesting stuff that I made for dinner, but occasionally other musings about things. And I just like to hear from you guys.
Yeah, I suppose we did say that just a couple seconds ago, but it's always nice for you to say it too.
Yep, especially because I could spell out my name because it has 2 R's, which you cannot tell just from hearing it.
Correct. Chille?
I'd like to shout out to Evolved Mail, aka twitch.tv/Evolved Mail, your girlfriend's favorite streamer. A shout out to Mione Ace at YouTube /Mione. Shout out to Avi and Pete for having me on. God damn it, I'm half asleep. She Heals I Tank a couple of weeks ago. Go check that out. I had a lot of fun. A shout out to everyone in the chat. Congratulations on your prizes. I've given them all out, so.
Yep, I see that. I see a little panda cub in the background there. I wonder where that's from. Congratulations. Thank you, everybody. Like I said, we couldn't have gotten to this mark without you guys, so that's our little thank you. And where can you be found?
Chille UK on Twitter or ben.shillebeerhall at psu.com.
Kazoon tight.
What?
It's a
That
lot.
That does sound nice right now.
Well,
Wait, what?
bed soon. And I want to shout out Luna. Hoping everything works out. Hope everything goes well. And we'll miss you. Hopefully you come back soon. Shout out to my co-hosts Chille and Seyrr for listening to me.
We're always here for everyone, for you guys.
Because I think everybody is aware that it's a very busy time of year for a lot of people. And it's nice to know that we have friends that we can go talk to if we're having difficult times. And
Yeah.
I had one of those moments today, and thank you guys for letting me vent that off and be able to bring the show today.
Of course. I think that is one of the things that keeps people playing these games, is just the fact that it's done with others, having people to share that. Like, people kind of need people.
Mm-hmm. You know,
We're a social animal.
yes,
Mhm.
we need that interaction. And, even though we can play these parts of these games, by ourselves, it's so much more fun when you do it next to a friend.
Yeah.
So
Especially Eureka.
actually, yes, that, some of those days when we're doing, the NM runs and we're in Discord, those are much better. They were a lot more fun streams, I would bet too. So Just the random bad bear puns in chat.
Unbearable.
Yeah.
Oh, I think everyone's had that. Like, even if like the not necessarily doing stuff to get like hanging out with someone in the same room, each of you doing your own thing, can be surprisingly satisfying.
You can just bear it.
Anyway, want to shout out to
Chille.
I'm unbelievable.
You're gonna get muted in a second. Shout out to Fair Eyes, to Aurori, and to Lenalietta. Congratulations on winning the prizes. We appreciate that. Surprise prize. I'm announcing it right now. This one is going to be for everybody who listens to the podcast, either live here at Twitch or on the podcast. Retweet when we post any of the times we post about the podcast, either the initial release tonight or any of the retweets that I do. If you retweet those, I will draw on the next episode. Someone's going to get the Mega Flare emote.
Ooh.
So, and that one's going for everybody. Even the ones who won tonight, go ahead. So retweet when I post out the new episode, and I will mark you down for an entry in getting the Mega Flare emote.
I feel like I should make an answers reference here. But all I can come up with is seeing the actual tune, and I'm pretty sure that gets us sued at this point.
Well, it's not looked upon nicely at this point, but yeah.
Yep.
Well, if you hear,
because of who owns the copyright on these things.
Think, I don't know. I can be found at phxdn_Klauss, Klauss. Or as I usually say, Klauss with 2 S's. Yeah. The show can be found at www.phoenixdownradio.com. You can always email us ideas, questions, fan mail. No death threats, though. Those are kind of frowned upon. Podcast. That's not a good thing.
Yeah, we're going to have to forward those to the FBI or something.
Podcast at phoenixdownradio.com. You can
I was wondering where those forward emails were coming from.
The show's Twitter account is at phxdnradio. If you don't follow us there, please do. Like I said, you'll be notified when we go live for a lot of streams there is now as well as then, like I said, that's how you'll see when we post out about the new episode. If you're listening to us on the podcast and would like to join us sometime live, we are at twitch.tv/PhoenixDownRadio. I am still attempting to stream every day, and I have made it so far. Like I said, this is 3 months now, guys. We've made it to the end of 3 months, and I've streamed every single day here at twitch.tv/PhoenixDownRadio. And I plan to go as long as I can. I might end up screwing it up next week, but we'll see what con brings. And if you want to check us out on Facebook, we are facebook.com/PhoenixDownRadio. So guys, that's going to do it for this episode. If you liked what you heard, please make sure to like, subscribe, or follow us on iTunes, Google Play Music, Podbean, or whatever your preferred catcher is. And if you can, leave us a rating or review as well. It really does help people to find us out there. And it allows us to grow our listenership and get even more people to enjoy these random shenanigans that we ramble on about. If you really dig the show, please consider subscribing here at Twitch, or you can become a patron out at patreon.com/PhoenixDownRadio, like our good friend Aurori. She supports us at the $20 level, and for that we make sure we shout her out on every episode just to know how special she is. All proceeds we would get from either of those sources go towards growing the show, covers things like hosting costs, and allows us to do fun things like these giveaways, and a few other supporter-only incentives and things like that. But any type of support you give us, whether it's likes, emails, tweets, or retweets, anything like that. Lore ideas, definitely. Ideas for discussions you want to hear. It's all greatly appreciated. We love interacting.
Hilarious outfits that you want to force Klauss into.
Not so much. Because
You could totally make that a subscriber reward.
Yeah, well, I think I'll just keep this scorpion harness on for a while longer and follow you.
So much side boob. Oh.
I'll switch out. I'll put it on my bard glamour, and I'll start playing a song for you as I follow. We love interacting with you guys and the rest of the community. All right, so for my hosts, Chille, and for Seyrr, and for Luna as well, we love you. We hope to see you soon. I am Klauss Nightbringer, wishing everybody a wonderful evening. Take care.
Phoenix Down Radio is a production of Phoenix Down Radio is provided by Guilty Gear Rock You. Check out the Metal Chocobo theme cover and many other music videos at youtube.com/Guilty Gear Rock You. Closing music for this episode is provided by Guitar Wanker 90. Please check out their full version of Matoya's Cave and other rock video game covers at youtube.com/Guitar Wanker 90. The views and opinions expressed in this episode are those of Phoenix Down Radio and its hosts and do not reflect the views of Square Enix.